So, without reservation, we all understand the economic concept of scarcity, whether we know it or not. It's relatively easy. By definition, scarcity means like in a state of scarce or in short supply, aka a shortage. To me, it's the most basic of economic concepts to grasp, and it's more of a fact than an idea or a theory. To put it simply, the world has a limited means or resources to meet an unlimited amount of wants and needs, which results in choices and decisions always having to be made. Before I continue, I want to touch on what scarce resources are. Scarce resources, well, as the book describes, are the limited quantities of land, capital, labor, and entrepreneurial ability that are never sufficient to satisfy people's virtually unlimited economic wants. So, scarcity dictates that economic decisions must be made regularly in order to manage the availability of resources to meet human needs. So, for example, there's so many apples grown each year, right? Some people want apple juice, some people want apple sauce, some people want apple pie, and etc., etc. Only so much of each product can be made because of the scarcity of apples. If there were ever a scarcity of apples, which I'm pretty sure there's not, so I'm A-okay on getting all the apple pie your little heart desires, whatever. But that scarcity raises a question of how do we decide how many apples to allocate to each company or each producer to make each product. An answer that pops into my head is the market system. Now, a market system, by definition, is all the product and resource markets of a market economy and the relationships among them. It's also a method that allows the prices determined in those markets to allocate the economy's scarce resources and to communicate and coordinate the decisions made by consumers, firms, and resource suppliers. So, however, the market system is driven by supply and demand, which is also another relatively easy economic concept, one of the few. Supply and demand is the amount of a commodity, product, or service available and the desire of buyers for it considered as factors regulating its price. So basically, supply and demand is how much of a product you have and how many people want to buy it. If there's more people that want to buy it, then the supply or the demand for the product is high. If less people want to buy it, then the demand for the product is low. So let's take apple juice again. Say people want more apple juice. Say people want more apple juice, meaning that the demand for the apple juice is high. This demand means that apple juice retailers or producers or sellers or whatever can charge more for that apple juice, which then makes it possible for those sellers to make more money on average by buying up apples and making them into apple juice, and then also taking those leftover apples and making, say, apple pie. More people start making apple juice after a couple of production cycles. There's so much apple juice on the market that prices fall. When those prices fall, while those prices are falling, the price of apple pie has been increasing as the supply shrinks. So now more producers buy up all the apples for the purpose of making apple pie, and so on and so on and so on. Now, the market is generally more responsive in real life situations, because this is totally not a real life situation, because I don't know how true it is that apples are scarce, because I don't really think they are. And honestly, I haven't read that anywhere. It was just kind of an example that I threw in there. And real supply shocks are very rare, but basically supply and demand explains why some products do good one year, but then happen to fall the next, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah, that is my explanation of two economic concepts, and I hope you enjoyed this video.